The Inuit goddess Sedna is the goddess of the sea. She takes care of the sea mammals and releases them for the hunters only if the hunters take care of her. Sedna has no fingers and cannot properly clean herself or brush her hair. The hunters are dependent on her in order to have a plentiful hunting season, but she is also dependent on them to stay clean. If she is taken care of, she is pleased enough to release her seals. If her hair is a mess, she does not release them. Sedna requires constant attention because what makes her unclean are human transgressions. When humans behave immorally to each other or to the world around them, Sedna's hair becomes more tangled. The only way to clean her is for shamans to perform certain rituals and the whole community to confess to these transgressions. The community must come together in order for Sedna to be cleaned and happy enough to provide the Inuits with enough seals for a fulfilling hunt. There are many origin myths for Sedna. In most of them, Sedna begins as an ordinary girl who refuses to marry. Eventually, a handsome young man comes along to court her, and she agrees to marry him. In one version of the myth, Sedna goes off to live with her new husband on an island, and her husband turns into a vicious dog. In other versions, she knowingly falls in love with the dog. At some point, her father comes to visit her and tries to take her away from the dog husband. In his attempt to help her escape, the vicious dog turns into an evil bird and turns the seas against them. Sedna's father pushes her overboard, either to save himself or to save her, and chops off her fingers as she tries to cling to the side of the boat. Her chopped off fingers turn into mammals of the sea, and as she descends into the ocean, she becomes the ruler of the new animals. Some myths portray her father as an evil man who kills his daughter to save himself. When Sedna's myth is told this way, Sedna is seen as an angry, vengeful goddess. In other versions, Sedna's father pushes her overboard to save her from a life with an evil shapeshifter. Through this version, Sedna is seen as a compassionate and giving goddess. By shifting her origin story, Sedna can be seen as a completely different goddess. Despite the way she is viewed by the Inuit people, they still perform rituals to brush her hair and clean her. Sedna and the Inuits must exist together and care for each other in order to survive. The Inuits relate to their surrounding world with empathy because they believe everything has a soul. The seals that they kill have souls, so they must perform certain practices with the seal to show respect to the seal and to Sedna. In many other modern and westernized cultures, nature is a passive object that can be exploited without consequences. Sedna is an active character in the Inuits' everyday lives, so her seals and the sea must be treated with respect. By viewing the world around them as equals in a relationship, Inuits create partnerships with the natural world that sustains both parties. Inuits today are trying to show Western governments that their relationship with Sedna is an effective example of how to create climate change legislation. They treat Sedna with a certain etiquette that is passed down through generations. If people could understand the importance of this etiquette, the governments would create policies that mirror a sustainable and symbiotic relationship with the natural world.